Hi there guys, this is Garth from Draw the Trigger, bringing you my Oracle Think Tank deck profile. Bolstered nicely with a couple of cards from set 5. This deck is a lot of fun to play, and I almost consider it to be my main deck now. But what's in there? Well, let me show you. Starting Vanguard is Godhog Ichibiyoshi. So I think you can tell where I'm going to go with this. At the beginning of your ride phase, look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck, search for up to 1 card named Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukiyomi from among them, ride it, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So, yes, ride chain for the win. Most times. For the trigger lineup, we use 4 Psychic Bird. This one, of course, when you put it into the soul from the rear guard, you can draw a card. Along with 2 Battle Sister Ginger and 2 Oracle Guardian Nike. So I don't run 12, I run 8 crits, but I like to trick people into thinking that I am using 12, because I'm not very nice. Draw triggers, 2 Dream Eater and 2 Miracle Kid, therefore making 4. And lastly 4 Lozenge Megas Fan Service Edition. Of course, this one you can put it on the rear guard and boost the thing with it, and it boosts for 6k. And then at the beginning of the end phase of that turn, you can put it back into your deck and shuffle your deck. But of course, if you're doing the ride chain like I am, you kind of don't like to mess with the stack you're building up, so it doesn't get done so much. For the grade 1s, we're on 4 Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukiyomi. At the beginning of your ride phase, look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck. Search for up to 1 card named Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukiyomi from among them, ride it, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. The lovely thing about the ride chain is 3+1 if you get it to work. Unfortunately, unlike later ride chains, successful rides don't give you +1k. Next, 4 Oracle Guardian Gemini, because 8k boosters for the win. And also next we have 4 Battle Sister Chocolat, because perfect guards for the win. My last choice for the grade 1 is a personal choice. It's one that I've tried out and it works very nicely for me. 3 Battle Sister Vanilla. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if the number of Oracle Think Tank in your soul is 6 or more, this unit gets not power, but shield, plus 5,000 until the end of that battle. So you get a 10k shield late game, which is fantastic, because it means that, essentially in my deck, there are 11 10k shields. It's also very useful against a certain card named, Silent Tom? Oh, crafty me. Moving on to the grade 2s. You've seen the Crescent Moon, and now here's 4 of the Half Moon. Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukiyomi. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard Circle, if you have Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukiyomi and Godhog Ichibiyoshi in the soul, you may soul charge 2. Vital for getting up to that 6 in soul very, very quickly. And then, of course, at the beginning of your ride phase, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, search for up to 1 card named Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukiyomi from among them, ride it, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Again, ride chain for the win. Oh yeah. Next we run 4 Battle Maiden Tagetsahime. When this unit attacks, if the number of Oracle Think Tank in your soul is 6 or more, this unit gets power plus 3,000 until the end of that battle. So it means it attacks for 12 when you get to that magical 6 in soul. Even without it, it's a very stable 9k. But when you do get to the 6 in soul, if you've got Gemini behind it, you're swinging for 20, which is a very good number. Last of the grade 2s, you're expecting Silent Tom, but it isn't. It's my second personal choice for the deck. Oracle Guardian Red Eye. I run 3. When this unit's attack hits anything, if you have an Oracle Think Tank Vanguard, you may soul charge 1. So of course when the ride chain fails, you do everything in your power to get the 6 in soul by any other means necessary, and this is one of those ways. And then of course once you've got 6 in soul, it just kind of gets used for shield. But of course the main thing is backup plan for when the ride chain fails. And this is how I do that. And finally we move to the grade 3s, first of which is of course 3 Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukiyomi. If you do not have Half Moon, Crescent Moon and Godhog Ichibiyoshi in the soul, this unit gets minus 2,000 power, which can be really painful if you don't have that ride chain but only have this card to ride on turn 3. However, if you do manage to get yourself to 6 in soul, you can potentially remedy it with the other ability, which is Counterblast 2, draw 2 cards and choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. So you can potentially fix the ride chain and get it back up to an 11k if you manage to get 6 in soul by other means. If the ride chain fails, there is always the backup Vanguard, and here it is. CEO Amaterasu. I run 2. I do sometimes run 3. It does depend on how I'm feeling. So at the moment it's 2. During your turn, if the number of cards in your hand is 4 or greater, this unit gets power plus 4,000. Only during your turn, I'm afraid, though. But it does mean that with Gemini behind it, you're swinging for 22,000 instead of Tsukiyomi that tops out at 19. At the beginning of your main phase, Soul Charge 1, look at the top card of your deck and you can put that card on the top or the bottom of your deck. Great for filtering out cards that you don't need in place of potential triggers, and of course getting you closer to that stack that you should hopefully have built up by now. The third ability is pretty much never used because you're more likely to use Tsukiyomi's skill, which is the Soul Blast 8, Counter Blast 5. When its unit's attack hits, you may pay the cost, and if you do, draw up to 5 cards. It's a very nice skill. It's fun to threaten people with it because it works from the rearguard as well, and it doesn't have to hit the vanguard. So very crafty. And that's a CEO Amaterasu. Final grade 3, I play for Trolls. It's my final random personal choice of the deck. 2 Evil Eye Princess Uriel, or Urieli, I don't know how you're meant to pronounce it. I go with Uriel because that's kind of what it says. When its unit is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, if the number of Oracle Think Tank in your soul is 6 or more, choose a card at random from your opponent's hand, bind it face down, and at the beginning of the end phase of that turn, your opponent puts that card back into their hand. Mucho Trolls for when the ride chain does work, or if you manage to get 6 in soul any other way. So ideally, you'll, get your ride chain off, which is to ride the grade 1, get the grade 2, soul charge 2 cards at random, and then when you ride the grade 3, you'll have, at that point, 5 cards in the soul, which is where one of 2 cards come in to help you out. One of which is Red Eye, to attack something and hit it to get that 6th card in the soul. The other trick is, of course, Psychic Bird, which you just go, haha, get 6 in soul, and then draw a card. At which point then you can abuse the Counter Blast to draw 2 cards, put 1 card in the soul trick. Ideally, you'll have a Gemini behind it, so you're swinging for 19,000. At which point you can then start to throw down Taketsehime, and another Gemini for a 20k column on the rearguard. And if you want, you can even have the ride chain completed up to grade 3, and if you've got it in hand, you can just sit upon Amaterasu for a bit, swinging for 22, and soul charging in the meantime. With Amaterasu, the first thing she'll do is soul charge to give you 6 in soul anyway, so immediately Taketsehime becomes useful, and all the cards that require the 6 cards in the soul, like Uriel and Battle Sister Vanilla for defensive purposes, become very, very useful. So that's the deck. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.